thought that, in the midst of flashing cameras and the frenzy of a global-scale concert, a simple hug between Jimin and Jungkook would become the most unforgettable moment in the hearts of millions? The question that arises is, why can a brief gesture silence the conversations of thousands of spectators while simultaneously triggering waves of emotion across the world? The moment that occurred during the BTS concert seemed to lock space and time. Jimin, with a sincere expression and natural movement, suddenly leaned toward Jungkook. Without many words, he threw himself into the arms of his friend and fellow group member. The audience's reaction was inevitable. Thousands of voices that had previously filled the arena suddenly weakened, then dissolved into screams, tears, and thunderous applause. However, the most astonishing part was how silence briefly seemed to appear, as if the world's entire attention was focused on those two figures. It is not an exaggeration to say that the hug went beyond the meaning of a spontaneous act. Academically, from the perspective of nonverbal communication, a hug carries a deeply symbolic power. It represents trust, emotional intimacy, and a sense of solidarity that cannot be explained with words. In the context of BTS, which is often considered more than just a music group, Jimin and Jungkook's embrace became a representation of brotherhood and togetherness that lies at the core of their narrative. The public was not simply witnessing two pop stars hugging. They saw the manifestation of a relationship that had been built for more than a decade, a relationship born from shared struggles, the pressures of the entertainment industry, and global achievements that were once unimaginable. It is no wonder that many fans described the moment as the warmth that made the world stop moving for a while. On social media, hashtags related to the event immediately became the #1 trend. Hundreds of thousands of tweets appeared within minutes. The video of the hug spread widely, watched millions of times, and analyzed from various perspectives. Some highlighted Jimin's expression of relief, while others emphasized how Jungkook returned the hug with a protective stance. Semiotic analyses from pop culture observers even mentioned that the moment carried performative value, a stage without a script, yet producing a greater impact than the musical performance itself. Furthermore, this event reflected the emotional dynamics within the relationships among BTS members. Longtime fans certainly still remember how Jimin and Jungkook grew up together under the pressure of a young debut, intense training, and exhausting global schedules. That hug was not merely a sign of affection. It was also a symbol of resilience, a statement that friendship can endure in the midst of the storms of popularity and the demands of the industry. What made everyone fall silent was not simply the physical act itself, but the emotional resonance it evoked. Within the framework of social psychology theory, a moment of intimacy witnessed en masse can trigger a collective empathy effect, a condition in which people who do not know each other feel connected through the same emotional experience. Concertgoers, online fans, and even observers who were not part of ARMY were trapped in this circle of emotion. They were moved, they fell silent, and they felt part of something greater than just a music concert. For some, this event also served as a reminder that BTS not only produces music, but also presents narratives of humanity. Jimin's hug with Jungkook became concrete evidence that global popularity never erases the most fundamental dimensions of human existence: the need to feel, to love, and to be loved. That warmth, though brief, bore witness that even in the middle of a giant stage spotlight, small moments can truly shake the world. The big question that remains is, will this moment be remembered as one of the most important fragments in BTS's journey? Or will it simply be a small piece among the thousands of interactions they perform on stage? For many fans, the answer is already clear. They affirm that the hug will always be an emotional archive, a memory recording etched into BTS's history, preserved, replayed, and continuously retold from generation to generation. Thus, BTS News. Jimin and Jungkook's embrace, the warmth that left everyone speechless, is not merely a headline, but a summary of a pop culture phenomenon. It shows how a simple moment can transform into a global symbol, transcending the boundaries of language, nation, and even age. In the end, perhaps it is true, it was the warmth that left us all silent, and that is where BTS's true strength lies. The moment did not stop there, as Jimin's hug with Jungkook later became the subject of serious discussion across various academic platforms and pop culture media. Some observers argued that the moment demonstrated how humanity remains at the core of South Korea's highly structured entertainment industry. In mass communication analysis, spontaneous gestures such as this are often understood as a form of resistance against the rigidity of the stage, proof that even superstars with tightly controlled schedules still have room to show their authentic selves. The reaction from fans worldwide only reinforced its impact. Armies from Asia, America, and Europe translated the moment into various forms of expression, from fan art, in-depth analyses in online forums, to lengthy essays published on independent media. On TikTok and Instagram, thousands of clips of the hug were overlaid with melancholic music, emotional text, and comments endlessly affirming one thing: this is not just a hug, this is history. On the other hand, the hug also revealed a reflective dimension. Many linked it to mental health issues and the pressures faced by global artists. Jimin and Jungkook, two figures who grew up under the public spotlight since their teenage years, often had to suppress their emotions to maintain a professional image. Therefore, the hug displayed in front of thousands of spectators could be seen as an emotional catharsis, a release that was finally visible to the eyes of the world. From a psychological perspective, this moment could be considered a form of social support that carried therapeutic effects, not only for the two of them, but also for their audience. Yet, the main appeal lay precisely in its simplicity. There was no complex choreography, no prepared visual narrative. Just Jimin running lightly, bumping into Jungkook, and letting himself be held in that embrace. It all happened so quickly, but its meaning spread so widely. This is what made it feel authentic and far from artificial. In a digital era full of fabrication, such authenticity is the most valuable commodity. It is not surprising that a number of international media later highlighted this news in their headlines. Articles on pop culture portals in America, Europe, and Southeast Asia described the moment as the emotional highlight of the concert. Some even compared it to other iconic moments in music history, such as emotional interactions among legendary band members now remembered across generations. BTS, once again, proved that they not only create music, but also build an archive of emotional moments that transcend the boundaries of time. The intriguing question is, was the hug actually planned as part of the performance, or did it happen purely spontaneously? The answer remains a mystery to this day. Yet precisely there lies its power. That uncertainty adds a dramatic layer, making the public continue to talk about it, analyze every detail of their movements, and even the expressions on their faces.